There's a reason why wrestling is so popular, because if you could take sports and you could write a script, you would never have a bad game. You would never have an uninteresting event. You would have nothing but magnificent drama every single day and night. And if you look at how they do that, they do it following the oldest formula in the world. They've been doing this in motion pictures since the 1920s. They've been doing it on stage since the dawn of time. You have two people that are critical. You need a protagonist and an antagonist. You need a hero and a villain. You need Superman and you need Lex Luthor. And the question is Draymond Green invaluable to basketball because he fills that role? Because the Warriors have given you both. When you watch the Warriors, who've been the dominant team in the sport for the last decade, they've had one guy that everybody loves. Everybody loves Steph Curry. People who hate the Warriors love Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the most popular player in the NBA since Michael Jordan. Maybe Kobe. Let me rephrase that. He's the most popular in the NBA since Kobe Bryant, for sure. Much more popular than LeBron James, I think. I'm not saying he's a greater player than LeBron James. I think he is a more popular, more universally beloved, has fewer detractors, fewer haters, all that kind of stuff. He is universally beloved. And Draymond Green is basically universally be-hated. The only people who don't hate him are Warriors fans. And I think that is a magnificent combination. You've got it all in one. You've got it all wrapped up in one. I was in Boston for the NBA Finals 2 years ago, so 20, whatever the first year I did the league was, 21. In the spring of, well, I guess it would have been the spring of 22.
The year the Warriors won the championship.
The year the Warriors won the championship. And all three games in Boston, of which the Warriors won 2, including they wrapped it up in that game 6, the crowd never once stopped chanting 3 words. The second one of them was the word you, and the third one of them was the word Draymond. I'll let you guess what the first word was. Nonstop, start to finish. And you know who loved it? He did. In the meantime, they're cheering Steph Curry while he's mocking them. He's like making that little, I'm putting them to sleep thing, putting them to his head, but because he kind of looks so adorable doing it, no one hates him. But Draymond is the perfect villain. So I actually think Draymond has served a purpose. There's been a value to this. Again, no one is condoning grabbing a man around the neck and pulling him around for 10 minutes or 10 seconds, because that's, excuse me. It is not only completely inappropriate, but it's obviously at least to some degree dangerous. But I think Draymond Green is playing his role perfectly.
It's so funny because, you know, the Splash Brothers is one of the most famous nicknames in sports, and those guys I think are beloved, and Steph most of all. But between Steph and Draymond, I think that's actually the more valuable tandem, and they're kind of like, you know, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in some sense. And the other thing that has to be said is that they play together as well and as beautifully as any tandem. I mean, watching the Warriors play with those guys on the floor is poetry in motion. And because Steph is so good, he can cash the checks that Draymond can write. Because if Draymond was playing on any other team, with any other superstar, any other circumstance, he's not a Hall of Famer, and then he can't get away, you know, acting a fool the way that he does. And that's the genius of that tandem.
So who was it who decided to put in the rundown today the following question of the day? Who will complete more passes to New York Jets players on Sunday, Zach Wilson or Josh Allen?
That was me.
Who thought that was funny? Why would that be funny?
It's a compliment to the Jets' great defense.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It is a not backhanded. It is a backhanded, not even backhanded. It is a forehanded slap at Zach Wilson, because the last time the Jets played the Bills, they intercepted Josh Allen 3 times, and that's like a once in a lifetime. So let's even say we replicate that. What you are doing is suggesting that there is a very real possibility that Zach Wilson doesn't complete 3 passes on Sunday. That's what you're saying, Cam. You're doing it just to dig at me, and I don't appreciate it.
Well, it's not inconceivable that Josh Allen could throw 3 picks again. He just threw 2. So,
which is likelier, that he throws 3 picks again or that Zach Wilson throws? How about this? Which number will be great? If you had to bet, like I got my Seeing Green bets now on the ESPN app, the ESPN Bet app, which is up and available, and I've got a special prop this week on the quarterbacks on Thursday night. All the information is up there at ESPN Bet, and I have it up on my Twitter and my Instagram as well. But if I gave you a prop, Hembo, which number will be higher on Sunday? The number of interceptions that Josh Allen throws, or the number of touchdowns that Zach Wilson scores, be it running or passing, which number would be higher?
I would take the Josh Allen interception.
No question.
100%.
Like, not even close
to the end zone.
I think that Zach Wilson has thrown one touchdown this year. Is
They
that right?
have scored 2 touchdowns in their last 4 games, and in one of them, the Eagles pushed them in on purpose.
Yeah.
They've scored 1 real touchdown in the last 50 drives.
Zach Wilson has thrown 5 touchdowns this year.
5 touchdowns. What is the number I saw? But only one since something, whatever it is. Yeah, because he threw that touchdown against
They're hard
the
to keep
Giants.
track of.
He's thrown 1 since October 1st. The
He's
game
thrown
after
those.
the Chiefs. He threw 2 against the Chiefs, and since then he's thrown 1.
And that was
Yikes.
the one that Breece Hall caught in the middle of the field and ran.
Yes.
Threw it 5 yards.
And
It was a great
monsoon.
pass.
So you see, the point is you're making me mad with this question. Like you put the question in there with the sole intention of rankling me, and it worked. Deion Sanders perfectly illustrates what college football has now become. He is college football 3.0. It is now the wild, wild west. And everyone goes into it knowing that. And so long as the players no longer have the ridiculous restrictions in their ability to move from place to place that they used to, then I have no problem with this. Deion, in any given year, might find a better opportunity, and I will not fault him for taking it, because every one of his players might find a better opportunity, and I won't fault them for taking it. And every player on his team might be replaced at any given moment by a better opportunity. That's what this has become. College football has become a professional sport in every conceivable way. So I don't have any issue with it. If he decides he wants to go to Texas A&M, again, if his players had been stuck and unable to move around upon the departure of their coach, as had been the case for 100 years, I would have screamed and yelled and stood on the table. But that's no longer the case. What's good for the goose is now good for the gander, so I'm fine with it.
And Deion Sanders would, to be very clear, out-earn whatever contract Texas A&M gave him or anyone else gave him. I'm reading here, Greeny, an article from USA Today in which they describe a conservative estimate that they've compiled that includes the increase in football ticket sales, in donations, in other miscellaneous increases, and estimated value of media exposure for the university since he got there. And the estimate is $280 million. Deion Sanders prints money for your university. If Texas A&M gave him $100 million, $200 million, he would make up for it in 1 year.
But here's the problem, though, is that at Colorado, because of the history, the expectations, and everything else, the fact that, what has he won, 4 games or whatever it is, and they had won 1 game a year ago, and that's going to be fine, and that act won't run out for a while. Like, they'll be excited about him for a while. In the SEC, they'll be really excited when he gets there. I agree with you. He'll make them a bunch of money quickly. But if they don't win, it doesn't matter who it is. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
they
but
would run Nick Saban out of there in 2 years.
They
if
just ran
keep
out his
losing.
protege.
Right. They just ran out Jimbo Fisher and paid him $76 million to go away. They're so desperate to win games. And so the Deion cult of personality, which is is a real thing, I agree with you, I do not think would have the same longevity in that scenario as it does where he is. This is shaping up to be the worst trade in football history, and it could. The flip side of that is that it's still got a minimum of 3 years left, right?
Right.
So if we live in a world where his shoulder gets healed and he comes back next year, if he leads them to 1 Super Bowl, it will be one of the great trades ever. The Cleveland Browns have not won the Super Bowl in ever. The Super Bowl has been around since the late 60s. The Browns have not been in it. They've not won it. They've disbanded and come back as a franchise since the last time they won a football championship. They're one of the the foundational franchises of American professional sports. I still remember Eric Mangini when he got that job going, the Cleveland freaking Browns. And those of us who appreciate sports history feel that way. They are the Browns of Jim Brown. They are the Browns of all this historical significance. But what they never do is win. Not in the lifetime of practically anyone who's still alive. So you say to yourself, is one championship worth it? Well, I think for any franchise, one championship is worth whatever you have to give up for it. But for that franchise, it certainly is. So while it right now is trending toward being among the worst trades ever, if they win one title because of it, it immediately flips to being one of the best.